Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. We've been selling auto parts for over 30 years.
Change this outer tail light that's in the body. Open up the trunk. There's a trim clip here. Use a flat bladed screwdriver to unscrew it. Pull it out, just put it aside. This will lift right out of the metal. You can kind of push this to the side. You need to unplug all this wiring and then undo the bolts. I'm going to start with this top one, just pushing the connector, pushing the lock, wiggle it out. This one here. All these connectors are different and coded. You can't mix them up. They'll only plug into one spot. So this little harness connector is kind of sitting on the nut. I'm going to use our plastic prying tool you can get from 1aauto.com. Slide it under here. Just pop that off. Same thing over here. This way we can remove these nuts. Pop it right off. I'm just going to push the harness down and out of the way a little bit. Take a ratchet in our 8mm socket, deep socket. Loosen up all these nuts. Once they're all loose, I can take them off my hand. Try not to drop these. I feel fishing for them in the bottom of the trunk here. To remove the rear bumper, we've got our car up in the lift, but you could do this on the ground. This is just a little easier to show. We're gonna go underneath the bumper. There's two push clips. This one's already pretty loose. I'm gonna take a plastic prying tool. You can get this from 1aauto.com and kind of work it in there, pry it out. You can use a flat bladed screwdriver too. Sometimes these get stuck. So that's actually out. Probably underneath this one. Sometimes you need to use a flat bladed screwdriver or a metal push clip tool. Just kind of pull it out. Pop this one all the way out. So the bottom of the bumper is loose. Some rocks up in there. There's some screws in here. There's one up in here. And then 3 on the edge we're going to remove. I'm going to start by using a Phillips head screwdriver on this upper one. And this will be identical for the other side. These are all self-tapping screws. These big flathead ones are going to go in the bumper here though. We'll just keep track of these. We didn't have to take our tire and wheel off. There's enough space. Our bumper cover is ready to come loose on this side. So remove these screws just like the other side. Inside, underneath the trunk lid, on either side there are 5mm, these big wide flathead bolts. We'll put a 5mm Allen key in here. Thread these out. Put that bolt aside. Do the same on this side. These are kind of rusty, so they're supposed to be 5mm. I'm just making sure it sits in there nice and then removing it. Gotta firmly pull the bumper out of the bracket. It's gonna sound like it's breaking, but it's just popping out of the clips. The bracket goes all the way around. Gonna hang the bumper like that. I'm gonna go over to the other side, do the same. Lift the bumper straight off the car. With the bumper off and the nuts removed from the back of this, there's a Phillips head screw on the bottom of the tail light holding it in onto the bracket. Gonna remove that. It's rusty, but luckily it goes into plastic, so it didn't rust in place. I'm not going to mess with these nuts and studs because they're really rusty. If anything, I'm going to just kind of pull down on this bracket because it can be bent down if I need to. It's just thin sheet metal. Now we should be able to kind of pop this up. And the same thing, I'm going to bend this down because I don't want to unbolt it. It's just too rusty. I'll pull the taillight straight out. So it's got these two pins that mount into this bracket here. Here is our original tail lamp assembly from our vehicle and our brand new one from oneauto.com. You can see it's an exact match. This one doesn't have any, this is all kind of scratched up and worn. This one looks nice and new and perfect. On the back, got the same 4 mounting studs, the same mounting parts on the bottom there, and the same studs going to the side of the body. We're just going to switch over our bulbs and sockets and then reinstall it. So I'm going to go in and remove these plastic pieces. These little stickers are just keeping stuff from getting inside the lens during shipping. I'm going to start with this one down here. Go to the same bulb and socket. Turn it counterclockwise to unlock it. Get it lined up. Turn it clockwise to lock it in place. Then we go ahead, take these all off. If this is in the way while you're doing it, you can pull this foam off. This foam, we'll slide this foam out from underneath here so I can get to it. We'll get this side one. Ow. And just repeat this for all the bulbs. Reinstall our foam. Just push it over the little tabs there. There's one down here at the bottom. And we'll hold it in place. I'm just gonna basically push it straight in. These tabs here are gonna go in these openings here. And I need to also capture these tabs in the top of this bracket, and then I'll bend it back up. A little maneuvering to get it in here. Kind of line it up with the studs. So those lined up well. I'm just going to take my hand, just push this back up. Reinstall this Phillips head screw into our new tail light. It's also kind of your bumper bracket, so just kind of get it lined back up straight. Now reinstall our bumper. Gonna go straight forward with it. Whoop. Make sure you capture that bracket. Kind of goes in between. Capture the bracket that's underneath the trunk opening. Go over here. Get these lined up. Push the bumper back into the clips. Reinstall these 2 bolts that go on either side of the trunk opening. Just gotta kind of get it started by hand. Push the bumper up into place. These might be something else other than a 5mm Allen key, but because it was so rusty, that's what worked for us. Push this trim back up into place. Hold the bumper out a little bit. Maneuver it in place. Install this Phillips head screw. Install these 3 flathead self-tapping screws, and then repeat for the other side. Install our push clips. reinstall the nuts on the studs. I'm just going to tighten these down evenly. Plug back in the harness. Again, these are all keyed. They can only go into the ones that they belong to, and the cables kind of line up with them anyways. Push our little harness holders back over these studs. Replace this carpet. Just kind of slide it back in under this trim. Clip back in and reinstall the screw part. And I'm just going to seat this carpet underneath the gasket. And the taillight is replaced.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at oneauto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.